A good ending doesn't have to be a happy ending, but it does have to satisfy the player, tie up the loose ends, and show that all the preceding stuff added up to something. One surefire way to narc your players, therefore, is to put the closure they crave behind a paywall, by deferring the real ending of your game into some premium downloadable content that doesn't come with the game as standard. Consider these instances when a game's true ending was in DLC you had to pay for, and look out for giant spoilers for the following games.
Right? I'm afraid there are lethal levels of radiation inside the chamber. I'm sorry. I wish there was some other way, but there's just no time. It has to be done now, or the damage will be catastrophic.
Half a year after Fallout 3 came out, we were still complaining to friends, family, and nervous passers-by about the ending. As much as we loved the game, we were still salty over how your decision right at the end came down to either sacrifice yourself to a room full of deadly radiation, or sacrifice Sarah Lyons to a room full of deadly radiation. I mean, sorry, Sarah.
So that's how it is? So much for chivalry.
All the while, Fawkes stood there like a giant, useless, radiation-proof pile of no help at all.
We all have our own destinies, and yours culminates here. I would not rob you of that.
Then along came Fallout 3 DLC Broken Steel, which modified your final decision to include the mind-bogglingly obvious option of sending in a radiation-proof companion to soak up the rads and turn on the water purifier. Even if you still wanted Lyons to go in there, you and her just woke up after a couple of weeks with a bit of a headache. The wasteland was saved, and everybody made it out alive. As long as we know I'm still the hero here, guys. Right? Guys?
Beginnings are easy. See how easily I just began this section? Endings, on the other hand, are not. And when your plot is as involved and frankly as furious as that of Asura's Wrath, you might well lose track of what's going on, I know I did, and in your confusion forget to put your ending on the game disc. Hahaha, oops. We certainly hope it wasn't for more cynical financial reasons than that it was arranged so you had to spend an extra $5 to get the downloadable final 4 episodes of Asura's Wrath to experience the true ending. In episodes 19 to 22, Asura's daughter Mithra, the one he spent the entire game trying to protect, becomes inhabited by the talking golden spider who turns out to be the lord of all creation. Who Asura kills when he takes on his final godly form, ripping the space-time continuum a new one in the process. Oh, nothing major then. If you just played what was on the disc and left it at that, well, that's like the time I walked out of The Sixth Sense 10 minutes early. You know, that movie about the nice psychologist who everyone ignores.
The sound of iron sharks stuck in my head.
We enjoyed Assassin's Creed Revelations, but it was a little light on actual revelations. Apart from the revelation of how good Ezio looks with a full beard. Magnifico! But yeah, apart from that, Desmond spent the whole game in the coma he'd fallen into at the end of the last game, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, after stabbing to bits the lovely Lucy Stillman.
It is done.
Princess Anna, no! The curious thing about the Assassin's Creed Revelations DLC called The Lost Archive is that it contains both an actual revelation of the kind the main game was lacking, and completes the mystifying ending of the previous game, Assassin's Creed Brotherhood. It explains that Lucy started out as an assassin agent infiltrating the Templars, but then secretly switched sides. So by the events of Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, she's a Templar agent infiltrating the Assassins. Which is why Juno makes Desmond stab her. I did wonder about that.
The way lies all before you. Only she remains to be found. Awaken the 6th. Go, alone!
Just what would you do if your mother died?
Before or after I stopped laughing.
Right, very creepy. Forget I asked.
For a certain kind of player of Dragon Age Origins, the DLC Witch Hunt was your best bet for that much sought after sense of finality and closure.
Ah, your eyes finally open.
That kind of player of Dragon Age Origins is the one that's really into Morrigan.
Some doors should never be reopened.
See, at the end of Dragon Age Origins, Morrigan more or less disappears. And depending on whether or not a certain freaky sex ritual took place, she may or may not be pregnant with a demigod.
Lay with me, here tonight, and from our joining, a child will be conceived.
That didn't happen in my playthrough, but hey, I'm not judging. 2.5 years later, in the events of the Witch Hunt DLC, Morrigan is sighted back in the Korcari wilds, so off you trot to see about your unfinished business.
Flemeth once told me that temptation lies in the forbidden. Do not follow me, I said.
If that unfinished business included a romantic relationship with Ferelden's most braless witch, then this DLC can conclude with the special option where you and Morrigan have a smooch and ride off into the sunset together.
All you need to know is that the child is an innocent. He knows nothing of the destiny that lies before him.
By which I mean have a smooch and step through a magic mirror together, possibly to go and meet your demigod offspring. Hooray!
The Evil Within was a game that prided itself on its twisty, mysterious story, so by the final chapter I was looking forward to getting some answers, finally. What happened to the wife of main character Sebastian? What was going on with mysterious cop Julie Kidman? Why would you have brain surgery locks in your house? You don't want to know what you have to do to lock the toilet door. Well, I might have had plenty of questions, but The Evil Within sure as hell didn't have any answers for me. That's because they were packed into the game's 2 pieces of post-release DLC, the assignment and the consequence.
There are some things here that are to remain in the dark.
In these DLCs, we discovered that Sebastian's wife was working for bad guy organisation Mobius, although possibly against her will, and that Julie was working for bad guy organisation Mobius, although possibly against her will. These were both crucial bits of information that would have been helpful to know in the actual game, in which we invested many hours and several pounds. The DLC also managed to raise even more questions that were definitely not answered by the 3rd piece of DLC, in which you put a box on your head and smashed people up with a giant croquet mallet. Although it did definitively answer the question, what happens when you hit someone with a giant croquet mallet?
By the end of Batman Arkham Knight, the Arkham Knight has been unmasked as Jason Todd, former Robin, current jerk.
Who are you?
You really have no idea, do you, Bruce?
After Batman shows him the error of his ways with punching, Jason helps the Dark Knight defeat Scarecrow before going on to take the mantle of the Red Hood, a vigilante crime fighter much like the Bat himself. You're probably wondering how that went for Jason. Did he learn to let go of the hate and anger that drove him as the Arkham Knight? Did he continue to fight crime? Did he go all out on a new outfit or just pick up a red hoodie from American Apparel? If you wanted to find out, you had to have the Red Hood Story Pack, a short but significant mini-campaign that showed what Jace got up to after the Arkham Knight credits rolled, as he attempted to redeem himself.
What the hell?
You'll be pleased to hear that Jason does stick to his new crime-fighting resolution, although his methods are a little more, let's say, Snydery than Batman's.
Appreciate that.
Still, he manages to catch notorious criminal Black Mask. That's something. Talk about redemption. Putting Roman Sionis safely behind bars will really show the world that Gotham won't tolerate being terrorized by organized crime and...
How about you go to...
Or, I mean, that works too.
No more bullshit. We die here, now.
But Earth gets it tomorrow.
If you finished Dead Space 3, you came away with the impression that maybe, possibly, probably, Isaac Clarke was dead, on account of having fallen out of space onto a planet without even a space parachute. That sucks for old Isaac Clarke, but pretty much being Isaac Clarke sucks for old Isaac Clarke. He died the way he lived, having horrible, horrible stuff happen to him. Dead Space 3 saves the best for last in its story DLC Awakened, however, in which we discover that somehow Isaac and Carver survive falling out of space and may yet make it safely back to Earth and live happily ever after. Yep, happily ever after.
Draws near. Even now we can feel it. Teeming with life.
If only it weren't for all these dang hallucinations and their premonitions of doom.
Hey, Carver, we're almost there.
Well, we made it? Yeah, I believe.
Anybody would think that they're going to get back to Earth and then discover that those giant zombie moons had...
Open those eyes. You don't have to wake up, but open your eyes.
The ending to first-person grueling horror-thon Outlast is your classic happy ending. Your character Miles Upshur gets possessed by a cloud of evil nanites while turning off a psychic's life support, then murders a SWAT team.
You have become the host. Jesus God, what is that thing?
Tale as old as time. In the subsequent Whistleblower DLC, however, we get to see what happened after Miles gave new meaning to the phrase Cloud Strife. Told from the perspective of the person who brought Upshur to Mount Massive Asylum in the first place, a Murkoff employee named Wayland Park, Whistleblower ends with you being rescued from a knifing by the Upshur nanite cloud and escaping in the Jeep that Miles arrived in at the start of the original game. Then, instead of, say, calling the police, Park uploads his camcorder footage to the internet where it presumably gets turned into several hundred GIFs, a smash hit Vine, and an auto-tuned parody song within the hour. Still, the game does tell us that this will bring down the evil Murkoff Corporation, which is more closure than we ever got from the main game. Although, to be honest, there were probably parts of Mount Massive's story that we found out in Whistleblower that I'd have been happy never knowing.
Darling, I need you to try to bleed less.
Those were several occasions when games didn't quite deliver the closure we were craving with their partially complete endings. Thanks for watching. Yeah, hang on, I'm coming. Only kidding, I'm back. And it's not even DLC. So thank you for watching this video. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed it. And if you want to see more videos like this one, but not this one, we have a couple of playlists handpicked for you. Name of viewer. So over here we have the Show of the Week playlist, in which you will see our Show of the Week, which is a fun show about a different game each week. We've been doing them for ages. There's over 100 episodes, so you can watch that for hours. Underneath me here is a playlist full of videos like this one, but not this one, so features about weird stuff in games. So we've got stuff about hard decisions in games, we've got stuff about weird endings, we've got stuff about fighting game characters, like basketball. Imagine that. Everything you like, there's definitely a video about it somewhere in that playlist. So choose one of those. That is the canonical ending to this video, is you watching another one. So I guess it's kind of like DLC. We've learned nothing from this video, have we? But
Do I have to pay for it?
No, it's free. So I guess we are better than everyone in this video. Hooray!